So this is the spot that I've chosen for my herb garden. Now, it is a kind of a mishmash of a veggie garden that's going on here, but I really want a beautiful focal point of a herb garden. The trick is with herb gardens, it's got to have at least 5 hours sunlight a day. As you can see, I'm in the bright sun, and this is the perfect spot. It's going to be rounded, but you know, as always, in the center of your feature, or whatever you're doing, you really need an awesome focal point. So I'm going to need Garth to help me out with that, to decide exactly what we're going to do. How's it, Garth?
Oh, Tanya.
So we're in the bright sunshine.
I see that.
And I want to build a little herb garden here.
Right.
Using some red bricks just to line it.
Okay.
But I'm wanting something in the center as a beautiful feature.
Right.
Have you got any ideas?
I think I have, Tanya.
What's that?
I think a sundial will be very good.
Well, we've never made one of those before.
We've never done it. It'll be a nice project to do.
Well, I think that's quite cool. Sundial, herb garden. I like that idea. So we now need to start working on our outer line of the perimeter, basically. Now, as we mentioned, we're going to do a circular herb garden. And if you can just pass this to me, I'm going to do a little drawing of basically what it's going to look like. It's going to have an outer circle, an entrance to lead you in, and then the sundial is going to be our major focal point, right in the center. This kind of design with one entrance is generally called a keyhole garden. And the first part that we need to start off with is determining what our outer line is. So first off, I think we're going to put our center point in right about there.
Okay.
Whack it in, Garth. We've got a bit of builder's line. Attach that, and let's see how far we're going to go out. Yeah, I think it'll be okay because we've still got some space in between here. So we just pop this in here and then just do a big circle all the way around. There we go. Right, circle meets up. That is going to be our outer line. We are now going to open that up, dig a little cavity. It's almost like a little trench, and we're going to start laying our red clinker bricks to give our outer edge of our herb garden. The first thing that we need to do, get hold of your spade, work with your outer line, and we're just going to dig in a little bit, not too deep, because remember, you're only wanting to fit a brick in, and move the soil towards the outside. That's really important, else you're going to end up with too much soil on the inside, and then you're going to have to be removing it all. That's going to go along the outside, big enough to be able to fit a brick in it. And we're going to do that all the way around the outer perimeter of our herb garden. Hey, Garth.
There's Tanya. There's the cement.
Excellent. Right, we're going to start with laying down our bricks. It's a clinker brick, pretty inexpensive, and you can get them anywhere. So first up, what we need to do, just take a block brush and wet the soil a bit, just like that. We've used a very simple mixture here of 2 parts of river sand with 1 part cement, and that is going to be our base that we're going to be laying our bricks on. So just take a bit, whack it in. Always at this point, remember we used this builder's line right in the beginning. You're going to use that as your measurement, because sometimes when you are digging your trench for going all the way around, you do go off a bit. They say if you can make a perfect circle that you're slightly mad. So I'd forgive you if it is off. I'd be happy if mine was. Take your clinker brick, put it down, just use that as your measurement. There we go. I'm happy. Now don't be stressed, folks, if it's higher than what your soil level is in the inside. Because remember, as you start digging, so you're going to be aerating and creating more soil. Plus, we've still got to put compost in here when we're going to be planting. So don't get it actually flush with your actual level of soil. Rather not. Then we're going to need a spirit level. Garth, check me out. Let's see how we're doing here. There we go. Gentle tap. Happy in place. And then we're simply just going to go all the way along. Remember, it is a circle, so your edges are not going to join flush. If it was a square, yes, that would be the case. Pop it on there, give it a bit of a bang, making sure that we're getting nice and level. We're going to carry on that process all the way around, except for where we're going to have our entrance. Our entrance is going to be about here, which is going to be the keyhole, allowing you to enter into the garden where our sundial is going to be. It's pretty easy, Garth.
Yeah, very easy.
Okay, let's hit it. You go that way, I'll go this way. See, our outer perimeter is looking really hot, already giving it some definition, and that's exactly what we want. Here's the entrance into our keyhole garden, and of course, as any keyhole is, that's the shape, so we need the rounded part at the top here where our sundial is eventually going to sit. So last bit, we just measure it up to the brick, and the same method in which we did the outer circle, we're now going to be doing the inner circle. Just measure it round. And we follow exactly the same application now. Dig this out and continue the bricks all the way around. All our major construction work of our herb garden is complete. We finished all the brickwork, we've put down some weed guard, finished it off with some gravel, and of course just some logs on the edge to contain it. And now, the best part is that we get to plant. I've got some wonderful selection of herbs, some slightly taller ones, low growing, nice combinations that we can finish this off, and remembering of course that herbs are going to do fantastically well here because it gets loads and loads of sun. So let's get planting. First plant I'm putting in is an awesome Spanish lavender, and of course never forget the bone meal, bottom of the planting hole, and you'll know that it's a Spanish lavender because it gets these gorgeous little ears. They really are tough. It's called stucus, lavender stucus, has a very fine tooth and nice and compact grower. It doesn't get as tall as many of the other lavenders, and of course we're not needing lots of shade here, else our sundials ain't gonna work. So in the corner here, remember though that you've always got to give your plants enough space to grow, and this lavender will fill out, gently just lipping the edges here, and lavender with bricks and gravel just always looks so good because remember it's a Mediterranean plant, and that's essentially the setting that you would find them in the Mediterranean. So I can't wait for these guys to get going. You're nice and snug. Happiness is, let me get to the next one. You know, this is not only just going to be a herb garden, I'm mad about veggies as well. So I've decided to put a nice little cherry tomato plant in here. It's small growing, low growing, will only get a little clump forming about yo big. And what I'm going to do is pop him in the middle here. And remember, cherry tomatoes, they grow like weeds, absolutely like weeds. But to make sure that your cherry tomatoes are nice and sweet, a good companion to go with them is glorious basil. This is sweet basil. Sweet basil loves growing during the summer months because that is when it's happiest. It really doesn't enjoy the winter. Put a bit of bone meal in there and pop my little basil plant. And basil and tomatoes are great companions, not only for growing, but also, of course, when you're cooking. I've put most of my permanent herbs in, and I've got a wonderful selection of some strawberries. I've got some wonderful thyme, some basil, and behind me I've got some sage going on here. All of these enjoy the full sun, and they are going to be perennial plants. Now, what does perennial mean? Well, that means these plants are going to go on in your garden between 3 to 5 years, depending on, of course, how well you look after them. Remember, all herbs need a good pruning. Directly into spring, if they're looking a bit scraggly, give them a good haircut and they'll come away again and they'll produce nice fresh foliage, which is of course what we want for when we're cooking. But to fill in the gaps and in between, I'm using what I call my replacement plants. Kind of the things that I'm going to put in, grow as a crop, And once I've picked them and used them, well, then I need to plant something else. And goodies that I've got is this gorgeous bright light spinach. I mean, check out the colors on that. Isn't it awesome? The good news is that when you cook it, well, the color of the lime yellow goes away. So you're quite safe on that one. But all I'm going to do is just pop it in a few spaces. These little guys get about that tall with beautiful, gorgeous, seriously sexy colors. So they're going to go in little gaps. Garth, do you want to fill in 1 or 2 at the back there? All right. Pop them in here. And then also just to fill up a few spaces, because everyone always needs loads of lettuce and you can never have enough in your garden because else you go waste money by buying them at the shop. Right, some of these guys, pop them into the gaps. And remember, one of those lettuce are going to give you ample amount of foliage for about 3 months in your garden. When it's over or when the lettuce starts tasting bitter, pop it out and then buy a new tray and put some more in the garden.